right. Who wants to question officer next? All right. Mr. Seigel, go ahead.
Good morning, Officer.
Good morning.
You've never spoken before, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, as a law enforcement officer, when you're interviewing someone making a complaint, you want to make sure your report is as complete and accurate as possible, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that's because you understand that the report may be relied upon in the future at hearings or a trial like this one, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, on November 8th, 2021, you said you were working at the front desk at the Hollywood police station?
Yes.
And at 7:20 that day, Terell Ephron came into the station and made a complaint to you about an alleged shooting, right?
Yes.
And obviously that's a serious complaint, right?
Correct.
So it was important for you to be as careful in taking down this information as possible, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you memorialized that information in a written report, correct?
Yes.
In fact, that report was reviewed and approved by your supervisor, Officer Deneen, correct?
Correct.
Now, as detailed in your report, Mr. Ephron told you about an incident, if you just described it, that occurred on November 6, 2021 involving Mr. Mayers and two other people he identified as ASAP Hills and 12vvy's, right?
Yes.
Okay. And specifically, if you testified to this, Mr. Ephron told you that as he was approached by Mr. Mayers pulled out a gun from 5 to 10 feet away. Is that what he told you?
Yes.
Okay. In fact, the first page of your investigative report has a pre-printed box, which is called weapon, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that's for you to identify any weapon that a complainant reports to you, correct?
Correct.
Right. And you made a note in that report of a gun, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if a knife were involved in an incident, that's an important fact you would know, right?
Yes.
Right. And you didn't make any note of the knife in this case, either in that pre-printed box or in the narrative portion of your report, correct?
Correct.
And that's obviously because Mr. Ephron, when reporting to you what happened, didn't tell you that 12vvy's displayed a knife to him during the incident, right?
He did not.
Right. In fact, Mr. Ephron made no mention of a knife being involved in this incident, correct?
Correct.
To the contrary, rather than displaying a knife, Mr. Ephron told you that 12vvy actually attempted to de-escalate the situation. Is that right?
Yes.
Right. And he told you that ASAP Hills also tried to de-escalate the situation, correct?
Yes.
Now, during your interview with Mr. Ephron, he also told you that he returned to the scene of the incident approximately an hour later.
Yes.
Is that right? And he gave you those two shell casings that he claimed to recover from the scene, the ones we just saw, right?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Sustained is the word claim.
Okay. He gave you the two shell casings that he told you he recovered from the scene, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just so it's clear, Mr. Ephron told you he recovered those shell casings about an hour after the incident on November 6, 2021, right?
Yes.
Okay. And he didn't give them to you until 2 days later, November 8, 2021, right?
Yes.
Now, after you received the shell casings from Mr. Ephron, you requested that they be examined for latent prints.
I did.
And obviously, as an experienced law enforcement officer, you wouldn't have requested an examination that you knew would be useless. Am I correct?
Correct.
Right. So you requested that examination for latent prints because you understood that fingerprints can be lifted off shell casings, right?
Yes.
Right. Now, when speaking with Mr. Ephron on November 8th, 2021, he told you that he had a small scrape on his left hand from the incident, right?
Yes.
In fact, you saw a picture of it on the screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. And after him telling you about that small scrape and you seeing it, you clearly didn't see a need to get him an ambulance or some type of medical treatment, right?
Right.
In fact, at that time, on November 8, 2021, you discussed with Mr. Ephron if any medical treatment, what if any medical treatment he already received for that small scrape. You asked him about that, right?
Yes.
And what he told you was, I just treated it myself on the day it occurred, right?
Correct.
Now, you were asked by Mr. Przelomiec about the reported statements that Mr. Ephron made to you, right?
Yes.
Okay. And to be clear, when Mr. Ephron made all of his statements to you, he had a civil lawyer standing next to him, right?
Yes.
Now, you said you asked Mr. Ephron why he waited 2 days to report the incident, and he told you it's because he wanted to have a lawyer present with him, right?
Yes.
Okay. Did Mr. Ephron tell you that another reason he waited to report the incident is because he was attempting to contact Mr. Mayor's quote-unquote people, including his manager, Mr. Mayor's manager, trying to get money before he even contacted a lawyer? Did he tell you that?
No.
In fact, Mr. Ephron never told you that before coming to see you, meaning before he made his report to the police, that he had already texted a screenshot of the scraped fingers to Mr. Mayor's manager with messages saying that he, Mr. Ephron, was getting rich. He never told you that, right?
No.
Assumes facts and unknowns.
I'm asking you what was told. And the answer was he never conveyed that to you, right?
Correct.
Right. In fact, Mr. Ephron also did not tell you that before coming to the police, he had already sent a text message to his own business associate saying, quote, I want to get this N-word's money, referring to Mr. Mayors. He never told you that either, right?
Right.
And Mr. Ephron also did not tell you that before making his report to the police, before he came to you, Mr. Mayors texted him that Mr. Ephron was trying to extort him, that Mr. Ephron should stop calling Mr. Mayor's manager, and that Mr. Ephron should call the police. He never told you any of that, did he?
He did not.
Thank you very much. I don't have anything further.
Thanks for
How long did you estimate your interview of Mr. Ephron was?
approximately maybe 20 minutes.
And included in that 20 minutes, some of that time was in you actually writing down or documenting things on your report?
Yes.
Is your report a verbatim transcript of what Mr. Ephron told you or a summary?
A summary.
The gun that Mr. Ephron reported was pointed at him. Did he tell you what kind of gun it was? Meaning, was it a revolver or semi-automatic?
He just said black handgun.
Okay. Did you document something in your report that it was a specific type of gun?
I'd have to review the report.
What did he tell you?
It was a semi-automatic.
Okay. You were asked about latent fingerprints. How many times are you aware of latent fingerprints being lifted off of cartridge cases?
I wouldn't know the answer. These ones.
I mean, have you ever received a latent prick report documenting fingerprints on fired cartridge cases yourself personally?
No.
Okay. I have nothing else, Your Honor.
Mr. Seigel? No, Your Honor. All right, thank you, Officer Anderson.
Thank you.
Next witness.
My next witness is Detective Phillips.